because it's the silly, stupid, fascinating, weird, wonderful. They're my people, and more often than not, they're the geeky people as well.
But this real sense that what you do as you emerge out of Middle Earth in your real life is you hope, because Tolkien's so good at capturing that.
I mentioned Betamax. For anybody older, that's the old version of a video cassette. A video cassette is an old version of a DVD. A DVD is not set with the cloud.
And I said, "Oh, I'm not happy. No, I've got bits wrong here." And she said, "Yeah, but that's all part of the learning process. That's all part of the. That makes it unique to you. That those kind of imperfections within it."
Good evening, folks. Welcome to the odd sock drawer of live streams and podcasts, where you have a good rummage around and find special occasion socks, sporty socks, or even really obscure random socks. And some of them are far too holy to be worn anymore. But eventually, through the delving, through the rummaging, you find a pair and think, one day I'll sort that out. And then you close the drawer for it never to be sorted ever again. Welcome to Faith and Geekery. My name is Mark, and tonight we are joined by
Lydia.
Hello, Lydia. Thank you for coming to join us at short notice as well. I must add that. But thank you for being with us for our last before the break of the summer. How are you doing since we last spoke? How are you doing? Well?
Really good. I'm currently in a 2 weeks unpaid situation before I start my new job. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm taking this opportunity to reset my house and reevaluate where my geekery stuff goes, so it's been quite a good sort of decluttering and focusing sort of time, so that's been good.
Fantastic. And what geekiness have you been up to, or is it just the kind of product and reassessing that has been the key there?
The decluttering and sorting, but also on the day after I finished work, I went to Dumble Farm again, and I'm now officially a volunteer there, which is very exciting. So I'll be in October, when the new calves are old enough, I will be socialising them and stuff. And on that visit, I did get asked if I worked at Dumble Farm, and if so, how long I'd worked there for, because I knew so much about the cows.
Wow.
Which was quite cool. Quite flattering in a way. So yeah. And also, as a leaving present from my job, the toddler mums got together and bought me a subscription, the sponsorship for 2 of the cows as well. So that was really nice.
Oh, fantastic.
I worked out the geeky part of this is 96% of my leaving presents from my previous job were indeed cows.
96%. Well done. And we've got Stephen Jones as well. It says, "Hi, Mark and Lydia." Mark, good to see that you found your podcasting gear. Yes, well, I've just moved, and that's why my shelves are looking very plain behind me. And there are a lot of open boxes, but not a lot of empty boxes. And so that has been part of my life over the last few days. But we kind of moved away from kind of Leeds, and then had to come back for our leaving do, just because of practicalities, and otherwise won't go into that on a live stream. But that was fantastic. But it just means that our kind of transition away has kind of stretched over a week, rather than it just being kind of overnight, as it were. But that has been great. But we have said farewell to Leeds, and I'm here in, I was about to say sunny Lichfield, but in slightly cloudy, overcast, and slightly evening kind of Lichfield, so that is cool. But just kind of having to re-navigate, find all my belongings, as well as the geekiness and otherwise. And yes, Stephen, I realise I've left your thing up. I've found nearly all of my podcasting gear. I don't know where some of my lighting is, and so I've only got one little tiny light for now. And so it's feeling a little bit darker than usual, but actually it's slightly darker in the room because I really can't find my lights.
I guess the
go on.
joy of itinerancy is that you're sort of used to moving. But like the last time we moved like into this house, it did take us 5 years to unpack properly.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm hoping to be done much quicker than that. And
Yeah.
you know, there is a real blessing here that I've got time before kind of my work starts. So I have got time to acclimatise and adjust and get things ready. And yeah, there is a certain inevitability of kind of awareness of moving every so often. So you kind of get used to it. The only thing is that I would say is that there's nothing quite like the feeling of packing things into your box, because we packed ourselves, and I was there thinking, yeah, I'm going to remember what's going into these boxes. I'll just give a brief summary of what's on this box. And there's nothing quite like that kind of eternal optimism of thinking, yeah, I'll remember all of these things, and then getting to this side of things going, why did I not write that on the box? Of course I'm going to need this. You know, it's been quite ridiculous, really. That's why there are so many boxes open, because I just I have no idea what's in these, and I'll pick something up, go, oh, this is this bit, and then go off and put that somewhere, and then it'll be like, oh, what was I doing again? Oh, I was needing this thing. So it has taken several days to not get very far. So
an element of my decluttering has almost been like a hummingbird, where I've gone, oh, I need to move this into here, get into the other room, and then go, oh, but then this needs to go there. So I don't actually do anything productively. It's just a case of slowly shifting stuff around.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That is the speed of which I've been going as well as juggling kids as well. Folks, do let us know if you've been up to anything, geekery in the last week or since we last spoke. And I was going to say I was actually away last week as well, just because it purely was moving so very much, and it was just chaotic. So I wasn't going to add something else to it. However, the podcast did suffer because I only just sent that out yesterday, I believe, because I didn't have any working internet. But I was very grateful for the technician who came today and who informed me that the connection had been painted on, which was the issue. The fibre optic cable had been painted on, which but it's good that somebody else paid for it. So anyway, no judgment here whatsoever, but relief that it is working. So so folks, just please be in touch if you've been up to anything geekery. But failing that, shall go into the news.
This is the Faith and Geekery news, broadcast to your home and around the world.
So tonight we've got a few various things of kind of resurgences or kind of continuations of things. First of all, we've got a reboot or potential reboot of the Pink Panther, which used to be, is it Peter Sellers, but now is potentially going to be Eddie Murphy, which is interesting, I think, especially as there had already been the Steve Martin reboot, which again I don't think was that successful. There's also going to be a new, I've forgotten the Line of Duty series 7 or is it 8 or something, that there's been a new script dropped because the writer, or there was some people that weren't so happy with the ending of Line of Duty. Is it Line of Duty? Is that what I'm calling it? Yes.
No, I'm struggling to remember what it's called, but the phrase Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and the wee donkey.
The wee donkey. Yes. Oh, I'm going completely mad now. 1 second.
Is it Line of Duty?
It is Line of Duty. It is Line of Duty.
And then Call of Duty's a game. Yes.
Yes, and it's Adrian Dunbar who is excited to see the new script for Series 7. We've also got oh my goodness me, I'm losing all of these names now. We also have Vox Machina, that's the one, kind of lined up for another series on Prime, but then they've been continued for one more series, and that will be the end of Vox Machina, which is a cartoon-based D&D expression of a D&D campaign. So that's quite a good kind of cartoon of a campaign that's already happened on live streamed, with Critical Role. But then there's also some scenes in Birmingham being filmed and spotted in Birmingham of Silent Witness, where it'll the 29th series next year on
Mark will
BBC
be
One
pleased.
and
My
iPlayer.
Mark, not you. I
Yeah,
can't speak
yeah.
about you in the third person because that's weird.
And then there's a few other little bits and pieces where there's Wile E. Coyote versus Acme Corporation or whatever. This had been a film that had been filmed, been polished, and then shelved, and
Oh.
and so, but because of kind of fan outrage and people kind of just continuing to outpour its support on social media, they've turned around, and Warner Brothers have decided to release this as a film. So that's quite exciting, but I don't know exactly what to expect with that. It just reminds me of Space Jam and things like that, of real life with animation thrown over the top. And then there's two other things of I've forgotten the main actor, the bloke in Gremlins has announced at Chicago Comic-Con that there's going to be Gremlins number 3, which I think they have put down to the success of Beetlejuice and the fact that Beetlejuice has been reprised so many years later and has become really kind of a hit again. That they're going to push with Gremlins 3 to see how that's going to go. And then, of course, Spinal Tap 2 is also on the cards as well, and I believe there's a couple of cameos already, even in the trailer that has come out. So that seems quite interesting. We also have a couple of other bits. Philip Pullman's new book, The Rosefield, which is the third and final volume in the Book of Dust trilogy. That'll be out later this year on October the 23rd. Randomly, I don't know why, and I don't know if I've even showed these before, but we have some Doctor Who kind of saintly candles with the David Tennant, Matt Smith, Jodie Whittaker and Ncuti Gatwa's doctors, all as kind of Jesus-like figures in candles. They look quite funky, very much in the same vein as the Pedro Pascal one from the other week. There is also new content about Doctor Who and the battle between, the war between water and sea, or land and sea. That kind of stuff is coming out there, and that has just been released. And I've got two pictures here, which for those on podcast you can't see. One is of Becca in her wedding attire and Brandon in his suit holding a bouquet, and they got married on Saturday, and so there was much rejoicing there. And just a little picture there, because I think that is, of course, geeky news in the uttermost.
Very good.
I think that is the end of geeky news. Is there anything there that grabs your attention there, Lydia?
I just wanted to say, let's not feed the gremlins after midnight or get them wet. And I hope there's no after midnight showings for that reason.
Well, I'm fairly sure there will be, purely for that reason. Folks, is there any geekiness that you've been up to? Please do kind of let us know. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I was chatting to, who was I chatting to? Maybe a parent of a child, where I was just saying, isn't it interesting that as kids, we were allowed to get away with these sort of programs that we could watch? I remember going to see Gremlins 2 when I think I was far too young.
Same.
It was acceptable. But I also remember being really inspired to go and scare our next door neighbour who'd also gone to see it. And we used one of those kind of grippy mop brushes, like the ones that you can kind of pull a lever and they squeeze together. And we kind of cultivated that into some sort of gremlin, kind of dressed it up and tapped it on the first story window of their house, which there was a big scream, and so we got into trouble for that, because they genuinely thought there was a gremlin. But so did my great auntie Ivy as well. When she first watched the first one, she went around the house checking to see if there was any gremlins in the house at the ripe age of 70 something. Anyway,
it is really bizarre because I watched Gremlins at Christmas last year because I class it as a Christmas film. But like, I remember the whole film, and I remember watching it when I was pretty young. But I rewatched things like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and I don't remember. I can't remember anything after the child catcher from my childhood. So it's really bizarre what I was allowed and not allowed to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the child catcher is sinister. He really is. But yet, I think the first Gremlins film is really sinister, whereas actually I think the second one is much more comedic.
Yes.
And they kind of lean into that kind of, kind of funny horror, B category kind of films, sort of things.
And I also remember watching Tremors as well.
Oh, classic! Love
as a
love
child.
Tremors.
So yeah, the understanding of what would scare me and what would not was a bit strange.
Yes. Yeah, no, I get that. Folks, we are going to do things a little bit differently. So just before we come to the quiz, we asked the core team about what kind of clips and snippets that you wanted to watch. Apologies, Becca kind of mentioned pretty much all of them, and therefore I couldn't do all of them, and so or was the endings of all the episodes. But Tim had kind of expressed and has shared a few kind of little intros, and so I'm going to play a couple of them one after another. We may pause to have a comment, we might not, but here is some little snippets of highlights, as it were, that Tim wanted to share with us. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the kitchen drawer of live stream and podcasts. Not just any kitchen drawer, but that one that has all the trinkets and oddities and gizmos, the loose screws, batteries and birthday candles. We have a good rummage around and try and find that one thing that we're after. We carefully extract it, hold it aloft and put it to good purpose. Welcome. You will find that there is definitely a theme going on here, that these are pretty much all of the random ones, and I think Tim was moved by the ones that broke the kind of the people present the best, and so that is the first one. Here is the next one. To the comfy trainers of live streams and podcasts. We are the ones you slip on when you need to be informal and yet cozy and comfortable. Yes, there are more smart shoes on the rack, sporty ones also, and yet we might have a couple of holes in us, but we bring all the feels and the comfortable and reliability and a bit of ventilation. Welcome to... we've still got a couple more. Should we keep going?
Of the charge were the ones that had actually read the books and knew how important.
Hang on a sec. We'll come back to that one because that one actually isn't an intro. So here's another intro. Hello, welcome to the Inspector Gadget of podcasts and live streams. One of us usually gets derailed or derails using gadgets and gizmos. The other person tries to save the world on a tablet, and another one of us bounces around like a personified animal. And that is an interesting introduction. My name is Mark. There we go. There are some little...
was to decide which one was which there.
I was not going to comment, and nor will I now. Otherwise, I feel as if I will get into trouble. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's these things where Becca and I had been chatting a long time ago about kind of how do we kind of continue to be professional enough and yet kind of welcoming and otherwise. And I think this was just a gimmick that I just thought, well, let's run for this, let's see how this goes. And it's just been quite fun to do, really. And it kind of gives us a bit of an opening gambit without it becoming a bit too rehearsed and otherwise. And there is a bit of a nice challenge. I don't think I necessarily go out my way to try and break the guests and the kind of hosts, but I think it is just a case of just thinking something random to kind of throw in there to compare us to, and hopefully kind of bring it together. Oh yeah, so Tim has commented. Correct, it was all the times where we broke pretty quickly. Yes, goal unlocked. So that's pretty cool. We're now going to go on to our quiz, and I'll play the music because I've got that queued up.
I got questions. The quiz.
This is where I'm scrambling for a piece of paper.
No, that's fine because it's going to allow others time to also get a piece of paper. And
see, it was invitational then. We're fine.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't have to. You could be completely, you don't have to write anything down. You could just kind of go for it. There's no demands or expectations. So we have 5 questions, and some of these will be multiple choice. Some of these won't be. And if you're sitting comfortably, we shall begin. Question number 1. Which musical turned 43 years of age over this weekend? For the record, we're recording this on the 29th of July. Which musical turned 43... Pardon?
2025 as well.
Yes. Which musical turned 43 years of age over this last weekend? Was it A, Phantom of the Opera, B, Little Shop of Horrors, C, Starlight Express, or D, Fame? I'll ask that question again. Which musical turned 43 years of age over this past weekend? Was it A, Phantom of the Opera, B, Little Shop of Horrors, C, Starlight Express, or D, Fame? I'm going to pause for a moment just to see if people need a little bit of time. Number 2. Next month, which of these films turns 40? Is it A, The Terminator, B, Die Hard, C, The Goonies, or D, Ghostbusters? That's question number 2.
I was sure then, but now I'm not.
Question number 2 again. Next month, which of these films turns 40? Is it A, The Terminator, B, Die Hard, C, The Goonies, or D, Ghostbusters? I'm going to pause for a moment and then continue. Question number 3. On Sunday, the Lionesses won the Euros for a second time. Can you name any of the winning players' surnames from the lineup on Sunday? So on Sunday, the Lionesses won the Euros. Name any of the winning players' surnames. Technically, I only need one, but if you have one or any, I will say this was very hard to find the answer, and I was just quite surprised of how little spotlight is on the women's game.
Yeah, it's quite sad, really.
It really is. It really is. So we'll do our bit to promote it in a moment, not any sooner than the answers. Question number 4. Which celebrity was born on this day, the 29th of July? I was about to say 2025, not actually on this day. On this day in history. Was it A, Will Wheaton, who was famous for being the ensign Wesley Crusher on Star Trek Next Generation? B, Pedro Pascal from The Mandalorian? C, Josh Radnor, who played Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother? Or D, Joey Essex from The Only Way is Essex? So which celebrity was born on this day, the 29th of July? Was it A, Will Wheaton, B, Pedro Pascal, C, Josh Radnor, or D, Joey Essex? I won't repeat what they're famous for.
Pause.
Are you okay, did you?
Pause.
Okay, pause.
And continue.
And finally, what hobby would you associate with the term jigging? There isn't a multiple choice on this. What hobby would you associate with the term jigging? That's Jigging.
I don't know.
Again, just I guess for some of these, this is about kind of reminding ourselves about the various geekdoms and hobbies and interests. And that was the reason why we had kind of the quiz, was to kind of try and promote various bits and pieces. And so that is kind of the array of our questions and otherwise. So are you ready for the answers?
Probably. I'm also ready to score 0. So.
And folks, reminders, yes, don't. I was about to say don't give it away, but I've given all the questions now, so I guess we can kind of receive guesses and otherwise. So, pardon me. Question number 1: which musical turned 43 years of age this last weekend? It was B, Little Shop of Horrors.
Yay!
Oh, well done. I assume you got it right.
Yes.
Just to let you know, it's turning 43, or it's just turned 43, because it was made in 1982. Phantom of the Opera is 1986. Starlight Express is 1984, and Fame is 1980. Next month, which of these films turns 40? The answer was The Goonies.
Excellent. I also got that correct.
Oh, well done. Right up your street then tonight. Terminator was 84, Die Hard was 88, and Ghostbusters was 84. On Sunday, the Lionesses, this is question number 3. On Sunday, the Lionesses won the Euros. Name any of the winning players' surnames.
I want to say Waters, but I don't think that's correct.
No, if I'm honest, I wanted to say Sutton, and that wasn't correct either. And so I thought all the more that I needed to kind of go through these. And there's been a number of substitutions, so there's more than just 11. The goalie is Hannah Hampton. Then there's Lucy Bronze, who was then substituted for Naomi, or was it Neve Charles. Then there's Williamson, didn't get her first name, Jess Carter, Greenwood, Ella Toone, substituted for Beth Mead, Walsh, Georgia Stanway, for Grace Clinton, Hemp, Alessia Russo for Michelle Aguiman, Lauren James, substituted for Chloe Kelly, and the coach is Weigman.
See, I was thinking of Kelly, so I don't know why I put Waters down anyway.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's just a bit of a shame that we don't know this lineup, and if it was the men's game, it would be plastered everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just such a shame, and it is such a fantastic thing that they've won a second time at the Euros, which is just fantastic. So we just need to up our game a bit, men. But I think it now can be called the women's game, can't it? Really, and we'll just call it the men's sport occasionally when they feature.
Yeah.
Moving on, which celebrity was born on this day? Do we know, Lydia?
I've put Will Wheaton.
I've got to say it's a bit of a trick answer, because it was Will Wheaton. You get a point for that. It's also Josh Radnor's and also Joey Essex's. It wasn't Pedro Pascal's. So there was 3 potential answers there. And then finally, what hobby would you associate with the term jigging?
I wanted to say Morris dancing.
Oh, that I almost would want to give you. In fact, I complained last week about not giving points or giving points when I wasn't watching. I want to give you a point for that, because I think by association that sounds as if it should be. But the real answer is fishing. Jigging is the practice of fishing with a jig, a small leaf-like lure, which you lift up and down swiftly to mimic a fish bobbing up and down.
Yeah.
So you're jigging.
We need to be careful where on the screen we're doing that motion.
Yes. Just up and down with a fishing rod.
Yes.
So that is the answers to the quiz. I hope that has been okay. Answers in the comments, and let's just tell us how well you did. I mean, technically you could get however many of the points plus all the lineup of the Euros, so it could be a very high scoring round for you, but I haven't worked out how many it's actually officially out of. At this point, I want to show a clip, because this is me completely broken on the quiz from a couple of weeks ago. So if you're sitting back and prepared to sigh and roll your eyes at the professionalism that I have on offer, and I will say this was me reading the kind of printout that Tim had done fantastically well, but I had confused myself why things had things in brackets and also in bold, and I wasn't filtering out what I should have done. So sit back and enjoy 50 seconds of me being completely broken as a quizmaster.
Get that wrong.
Oh,
Yeah.
my tummy's hurting now.
He's got hysterical. He's got over. He's tipped over.
Oh gosh.
Somebody else is going to read the question.
I'll
Gonna
get
do
there.
it.
Oh, come
I'll
on.
do it,
Just
I'll
put
do
the
it.
questions and answers up on the screen, Mark,
Just-
and then
just
we'll all
hold
read
it
it.
up. Just hold it up.
Could you do it just like, here's 5 facts?
Yeah, that's true. Just give it as facts. That
No,
would
it's
work.
not.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Right, question number 5.
Oh, it's a good job we're so professional.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Set the bar
let's just
low.
kind of rub this one away from existence. Oh, and it still makes me chuckle, and it still makes me feel embarrassed. So that's very fun. But then I guess should we drop in another? Yeah, we'll drop in one more clip now, and talking about professionalism and otherwise. And I think this has been termed about from Tim about how we kind of seamlessly leap from one subject to another. And this was from our unfinished projects episode.
Of the charge were the ones that had actually read the books and
Nice.
knew how important this scene was.
Nice.
So this is like this one guy who is from that scene in Pelennor Fields, who's like really like up on his horse, really excited, sword out. That guy who everyone memes is literally because he read the book so much.
Because he is such a fan. I love
Yeah.
that. Did you know a lot of the riders were actually women wearing beards?
Yes.
Which gives me such like Monty Python vibes. It's amazing. Are there any women here?
No.
And just for the record, I think you are still in my contacts, Jen, with a beard.
Do you see, I just think one day, I mean, it's going to happen, as perimenopause advances. I long for that. I long for that day.
I think if anyone's going to pull off a beard, it would actually be
Me, right? Like
In fact, when I think of you, I think of you with a beard. if I'm
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I think of me often with a beard.
Are we
I
saying that
honestly
we're
feel
just going
like
to
I
get
could.
you? Are we saying we're just going to get you 2 beards for Greenbelt?
I would like that a lot.
Yeah, why not?
I would really,
Get
I'd really appreciate
get
that.
proper like stylish mustache beards.
I love that.
Or we just go as members, the women from the crowd in Monty Python. And we
Yes.
just go dressed like that.
I feel as if we might offend people. And there we go. A little bit of a jump from, I think we started off with Lord of the Rings and ended up talking about Greenbelt what's the word? Opportunities with beards. So an interesting path. And I guess the anchor point was beards throughout. So there was some kind of joined up dots of conversations or otherwise
that
there.
was a really good display of the conversational nature of this podcast, whatever it is. Really lovely that we can just sort of weave loads of things into one thing. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think this is where again we tried to kind of create this. Sorry, I feel as if I'm trying to kind of big up the podcast and live stream really, but I think it's just as we reflect on what we've been up to, it kind of helped us, and we kind of some of us gathered a couple of weeks ago to have a bit of a vision team meeting to talk about various things. And I guess I will mention at this point we've got a few things kind of lined up. Pardon me, I shouldn't have had the fizzy drink. We have something that we're exploring about reflecting together and kind of giving opportunities for, well, we've got a meeting tomorrow in the hope that we have a deadline of it for tomorrow. So we're hoping that we have everything gathered for us tomorrow for something that we'd like to call hyperfocus, which is going to just be an offering of to reflect and to meditate to, or to worship, as you like, there's whether you use that phrase or not, and to kind of or to help kind of be reflective through practice, through whatever you're up to. And so we've got a few of those kind of things lined up as of September, and we've also got our return of our D&D stuff that was kind of fairly popular and people were asking about that, as well as some of us were wanting to kind of scratch that itch and play a little bit more as well. And in fact, I think I have got a very brief I've got a 1 minute snippet of what to expect for our D&D stuff coming in September.
What is established in wider D&D lore, including, do halflings have tails? Do tieflings not have tails? And other such things. We shall encounter them as we go. This has been your fun lore dump by Faith Geekery. Now, as we exit the rabbit hole, we head to that small bookshop, which is bustling with some of the out-of-towners who are looking around at some of the smaller tomes you have and you've collected over the years. And there's even a small group of children, a mixture of those from within town and out of town, looking at all the displays. Asta, what are you doing?
Oh my gosh. I think Esther is very, very excited that there's so many people there. And she is having lovely chats with people about different things that she's read in books about Harvesttide and the best ways to celebrate Harvesttide. So she's living her absolute best life. Having a nice chat with all these people.
So that was just a brief little insert of our coming D&D campaign, and that was Tim as our DM and Jenny as one of our players who is just kind of exploring the world that Tim has created. So that is going to come, and that will be released once a month. I think that's what we decided, and as well the hyper-focus stuff will also be released once a month as well. So we can offer a variety of things that are Faith and Geekery flavoured, but all with the opportunity to explore and accompany you on whatever you're up to as you go. So I think we've only got one more clip to show, and it is a bit of a lengthy one. Is there anything to pause and talk about at this point, Lydia, before we kind of go for a bit of a longer clip?
I can't think of anything right now. There's no comments to reply to either, so this is good. So I think feel free to roll forward, I think.
I was going to say, I did realise that the likelihood in the last couple of days of July is usually the week when everyone goes on holiday first. So I think this is why I was expecting not to have that many comments, but I'm very grateful that you come and joined me, and I'm also very glad that we have plenty of little videos to show. What I will share though now is that something that happens over summer is Greenbelt, and we've been asked as Faith and Geekery to have a little bit of input at the Hope and Anchor venue. So that's going to be on the programme. I think it's already been, I've not seen the final programme yet, but we've got a little blurb on there, so come and find us. But I think we're also going to have an informal meetup. So if you are already planning to go to Greenbelt, because it does cost, and I can't remember how much it costs, but if you're planning to be there, then we will put it out onto our Discord and also various other places to say that we can have a bit of a meetup. I think it was Jenny arranging that, so I don't actually have all the full details yet, but we will send that out there through our socials and Discord to share when we shall be meeting, and a bit more details of the programmed stuff as well.
Speaking of programs as well, I'm quite excited to see Faith and Geekery on the 3 Generate program as well.
Yes, so for the youngsters, for the ones who kind of go to Methodist, the Methodist 3 Generate, which is a young person's gathering that happens in October, I want to say.
First weekend.
Yeah, first weekend, thank you. It is in my diary. That we'll be doing like our own little kind of special there as well. So we've got a special at Greenbelt, we've got a special at 3 Generate as well. And I think later in November, I believe, we've also got our Comic-Con again, but this time instead of London, we're going to be in Birmingham, the MCM Comic-Con, I do believe. But more details will come out about that as well.
Right.
So mentioned about that. I think that is everything on my list that I have covered. So without further ado, we're going to come up to this other bit, and this is a part of. This is a clip that Jenny had asked to share, and it's about 10 minutes. We're going to be sat in the, in the stalls, off to one side because it's such a long clip. So we'll try and keep our quiet as we listen in. This is from the Limerence episode.
That kind of, deep calling to deep. I love it.
So, has everyone got anything else to share about their own limerences? Or is there a reflection? You're just going to show your t-shirt again?
I'm just going to...
Jen, can I probe your limerence a little bit? And
I would love to probe my limerence, Becca. I'm not going to lie to you.
Probe your limerence.
I had a dream like that the other night.
What is it? I bet you did. What is it about Pedro Pascal?
What? Such a good question.
Because for example, we talked to Joe, Station Master Joe, the other week, and he was fluent and eloquent about his love of trains and railways and what it does. And when I asked him about that kind of deeper question, what does that say about something bigger than yourself? What does it say about God? He said it's about connection. That trains bring connection, that they're physically creating that connection, both by creating like any other road, or a string will connect two items, but the train itself takes a person from one place to another place, and there you will meet new people.
Your people.
What is it?
Love
You
it.
will meet with your people.
Yeah.
So what is it, if we can probe a little bit, that
away.
You think that, because I know you to be a deeply spiritual, caring, loving person. So there must be something about you and your heart's desire, essentially, that is drawn to in such a visceral way that it shows on your face and connects you with strangers. What is it about Pedro Pascal?
I think that's it. I think that's such a good question, and also a really kind of well articulated question, because I think it is. I think limerence and I think hyperfocus is about having our needs met, which as neurodiverse people has not necessarily been a consistent experience for us, or we've not necessarily been able to articulate them effectively. So I think it comes back to this sense of unmet need. And the thing with Pedro Pascal for me is, on the one hand, he is just this fireball of energy. So it's just this fun fireball of energy. So I really associate with him in my own fireball of energy. But as a ADHDer, I wasn't always allowed to be a fireball of energy. In fact, more often than not, I was told to sit down, shut up, stop being too much. So this sense of having this icon, this role model, just being absolute on fire and bouncing around in a very kind of golden retriever sort of way, causing chaos, dancing when he shouldn't be dancing. It's just, he's like, he looks like he's ADHD personified. And that's so liberating to me, because people love him. So for me, it's this really liberating kind of role model in sense of energy, and not really giving an SHIT, swear word, about what other people think about that, whilst also holding on to clearly maybe anxiety issues and stuff. So being quite honest and authentic about that. So all of that. But then also he is an absolute, apologies for the swear, it was a written down swear, does it count? I spelled it out. He's also a loud and proud advocate for queer rights. And as a queer person, finding those role models who unapologetically, loudly, without fear, say, that's not okay, that prejudice over there, that's not okay, and also just live what looks to be a bit of a queer life himself, maybe just in public. And it's just going about being this like beautiful unicorn, fairy, amazing golden retriever kind of guy. So yeah, it's really attractive. He's very attractive. He's a very beautiful person. So he's easy on the eye, and he plays these roles where he's this protective figure. So it's not a big leap, in terms of what's attracted me there. But really, fundamentally, the thing that I find most attractive about him is this out and proud and loud, and this is who I am, and love me or not, I don't care, but people do.
I've got a follow-up question.
Brilliant.
And you sort of touched on it, and it's around shame, which and we are, all three of us, all of the people that make up the core team are practicing Christians, believing
ashamed.
ashamed, but probably all have our own journeys with shame, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So there's something in there that him and this kind of awareness of him is releasing you from shame around your own self and identity. But as we've been talking about limerence and talking about kind of finding deep spirituality and practice and understanding of bigger, meaningful questions. We talk about doing that through the pathway of geekiness, which is can be incredibly secular. So that might be collecting pens, it might be collecting CDs, it might be going to places that aren't. There we go. Mark is showing a broad collection of pens.
No, they were screwdrivers.
No, it's not. It's all screwdrivers.
All the sonic screwdrivers.
And memorabilia. The danger is that it can border on idolatry, and by idolatry we'd mean something that completely distracts you away from connection, meaning, purpose, all the rest of it. And I'm just trying to work out, and I know we've not got enough time, so I think this is another day's question or another day's conversation, is what do we say about the idea of following your heart to where it longs to be? What do we say about dealing with the shame that certainly certain religious practices and traditions would have said that, you know, you are not supposed to be feeling pleasure and all the rest of it. Certainly if you're coming from a puritanical background, and then it weaves into it shame when you do find things that are joyous or pleasurable and earthly. And there's lots of conversations to have around that. You know, there was a whole thing back in, when was Augustine alive? Roman
a long time ago,
at least the 70s.
So it's kind of Roman Empire time, when they're still trying to figure out what does it mean to be church or Christians.
A woman. Augustine had a lot to say about a woman. Yeah.
Well, yes. But people then saying, well, surely to be a good Christian is to be so pure and holy, nothing tempts you. And nothing, you know, and there was this separation of what is pure and holy, the spirit, and what causes you to sin, the body. And therefore, whereas Augustine at the time was saying, well, actually, that there is no separation between body and spirit. We are one whole complete person. So, yeah. There's a question in there, and I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's been niggling for a while.
I think the answer for me always comes back to that point that Jesus makes constantly about what God cares about, which is our heart. God cares about our heart, which is both body and also spirit. It's one and the same, isn't it? What God cares about is our response to him, who is love. So I see in limerence absolutely the ability to be completely distracted, but away from your spiritual center. I think that's probably true, but maybe that's an unhelpful distinction, because maybe actually what it is we're getting closer to the truth of the kingdom. Because those things I said about what it is about Pedro Pascal that I'm obsessed with, they're all kingdom principles, aren't they? They're love, they're freedom, they're, you know, there's no male and female in Christ. There's, you know, it's about community, it's about personal identity, it's about shaking off shame that has been given to you that it doesn't even belong to you. It's about acceptance. It's about and it's all the things that Faith and Geekery is trying to be. It's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create this community that is at its heart, at its very center, something that we want to like squish and mush and love, and you know, and that shows us a bit more about who God is.
Can I say two things? I'm aware of time. One is, and apologies if I've shared this before, but my granddad used to talk about having a motorbike, and he used to get complained at. I mean, he used to be a local preacher from the age of 14. He was riding a bike at the age of 16, 17, or whatever it is, and basically he used to get complaints about that the motorbike is the devil's machine because it took people away from church. And his counter argument would be, but it could also bring people to church. And that's always kind of resonated with me. And that is something that I strongly come back to, is that one of these things that you can say takes us away from it can bring us back. And what you said about limerence and about Pedro Pascal, for me, was actually, it wasn't just about...
I just want you to repeat that. Limerence and Pedro Pascal. It's just, I love it so much.
But it's not just about kind of, oh yeah, I think he's a little bit hot for. There was something there about recognizing that he was kind of demonstrating this kind of freedom and kind of unlocking.
That's it.
That kind of unlocking, kind of being like a role model, being like living out kind of something that we've struggled with, or that we've kind of had to work through an awful lot. And so he's a really good example of unlocking our kind of humanity. And go on, Jen.
Can I just say one thing? Sorry, I was really doing my best not to interrupt, and I'm really proud of myself. I know I did twice, but anyway, there is this concept in psychotherapy that's called security priming, and it's this sense that one of the things you do in the therapeutic relationship is you're getting yourself ready for secure attachment to yourself, to your own feelings, to other people. So your secure attachment with your therapist helps prep and prepare you for further secure attachments. And that sense of security priming, that's really for me what limerence is about. It's about, because like Pedro Pascal's not a real person. Like, I know he is, but I don't know him from Adam. Like, all I know is the brand that is being sold to me on Instagram. Like, so I in my rational brain, I understand this. What I'm actually doing is I am prepping and constantly growing and changing and priming myself for what actual proper security looks like. And that includes what secure spirituality looks like. What does it look like for us to securely connect with God? Because if we've been brought up being told that who we are is either too much or not enough, or probably a mix of toxic mix of both, then God thinks we're both too much and not enough. That's bunk. Of course he doesn't. God loves us. He loves us without question and without any sense of hold. He is overwhelmed by his love for us. God has limerence for us, right? So if that's the case, then this is like that sense of, what does it look like for somebody to just be so happy that I'm who I am, not despite, not like, I saw a thing the other day that said, go to the places where you're celebrated, not tolerated. And that's it. God celebrates us. And security priming, limerence, hyperfocus, these things give us that little tiny hint of the obsessiveness that God has for us. Do you know what I mean?
It would be a bit terrifying that you come face to face with God, and he's got
on his t-shirt.
No, and he's got his look, that look on his face that says, "I really want to bite you."
What a question! I love you so much.
I'm not sure I want the Almighty to have that look on his face.
On his t-shirt, he has a picture of you, though, right? Like, surely when we need him, he's going to be like, "Oh my gosh!"
If we were to sum up the feeling that God has towards every single human being, he's got your face on his t-shirt.
You are his limerence. Your face printed on his t-shirt.
Oh man!
I'm aware that we're going to run over time, but there we go. And that is the end of the clip. It turns out it was 12 minutes long and not 10. But I think that was an interesting kind of conversation that we had about limerence and about kind of, faith and spirituality. And I think I don't want to kind of over-egg the conversation or go over old ground. But what I would say is that kind of when you're talking about neurodiversity and about kind of feeling as if you're in someone else's world, or kind of feeling that you have to hold back or not be your true self because of social expectations and traditions and conformity, I think it can be a real liberation seeing people who kind of book that trend, who kind of adjust their native selves wherever they are, whoever they are. And I think that can be so inspiring, and I think that's where it can kind of embody kingdom values of liberation and celebration of self, without the kind of the balance tilting over the other way of idolatry, of escapism and otherwise, that can often have a negative and be a negative force, but to actually empower and to enable and to really celebrate above and beyond the framework that we sometimes find ourselves in, whether that's self-imposed or if it's been inflicted on us by others, then I think it can be really exciting what we can explore together, and to be liberated from those sort of confines. Anything else to add there, Lydia, or shall we move on?
Just thinking of my experience of going to Dumble Farm quite a lot now. I think it's 15 times that I've been for various different things. And for the longest time, I thought I was like the only one this excited and obsessed by cows. You know, they're just adorable. Why wouldn't you like them? And every time I go to Dumble Farm, I find people who are as excited about cows as me. And also there's another farm called Rancar Mill, and there was two of us that pulled up at the same time as each other, both with moo as our number plates, which was so exciting. So we were like going cows at each other. And then we saw the cows and cuddled them and fed them and stuff, and it was lovely. So it's like that moment of connection with other people about something that we both absolutely adore is just wonderful. And it's like you're not alone. And there are other people like you out there, and it's just such a lovely thing. And this is what I'm finding with this community, and another couple of communities that I'm part of online as well, that might not be able to reach these people all the time on site, but I am finding them through different methods online, through TikTok, through Discord, through Faith and Geekery, and it's just so lovely to know that I'm, not on my own of being slightly different than, dare I say it, regular church people. So it's nice to know that there are people excited about like D&D and Christianity and cows and Christianity. Do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
It's awesome. So yeah, really good.
And I think that's it, isn't it? That is the way that the internet and social media can kind of bring us together. I've already been chatting to some people that, even though I'm new to Lichfield, I stumbled across someone talking about going for a park run in Lichfield on TikTok, and so just kind of started to comment about it. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to give that a go. And I've not done park runs for ages, but just through that contact, I was like, yeah, let's see who I bump into there, and if it's just an opportunity, isn't it, to share that those interests. And otherwise, I am aware of time. We've managed to fill this time quite well. I'm going to come on to Geeky Gallery, and I think there might be a cow on here. And so, in fact, it is one of yours, Lydia. Yours should have been first on the list, actually, because yours was the first to be posted. And that is a picture of your kind of, is it an address?
It's a wall sign, address sign that I made in a workshop. I wanted to do something crafty in my last week of work, just to keep me from entering the abyss of sadness. So I went to my local painting pot and actually made this out of clay before I painted it.
What we've got is a fantastic Highland cow with a bee with a... Have we actually shown that picture before? I'm not sure if we have or not.
I'm not sure. I think I might have shown it when it was made, then it was fired, and then I painted it.
So now it's been glazed.
Yeah.
So have those kind of wisps of the hair, have they been extruded, or have they just been rolled with your fingers?
They've been extruded through a very exciting, like, pushy thing. Halfway between a syringe and like something else. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, I love great pottery throwdown, so that is the only term I think I know. But then you've got a couple of Highland cows to the right of that picture that I believe that you're feeding. Is it with some oats or
so
feed?
It's cake, cow cake. They call it cake, but it's basically a combination of really good things that cows really like. So they're in the shape of pellets, and you sort of push them into their mouths, and they eat them. If you don't push them in, they don't have functional lips and can't hold on to them. So you really have to sort of post them through the lips. So yeah.
Fantastic. We've got a message from a post from Jenny in our Discord, who was saying about listening to some music, which I think it's like The Feminine Body, and then it reminded her of a book called Invisible Women by Caroline Criado Perez. Can't quite read that. And then there's a picture of my moving van, because that's what I was doing last. What I will say is that unfortunately one of the movers was poorly, and so it had to be delayed by 16 hours. So I could kind of see some bits on the lorry being unpacked, and then they weren't. And then, unfortunately, I sort of the guy said, "Is there anything else that you need off?" I was like, "Oh no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine." And I put my chickens in the back garden, and about 11 o'clock at night, I heard a big squawking, and a fox had got in and had killed one of my chickens. So I'm a bit sad about that. So I'm now down to one little silky hen, and so I need to in the coming month or so, I need to find on getting her a friend, because a lonely chicken isn't a nice place to be. So, but anyway, so that's where my kind of moving hasn't gone quite to plan, but it's okay. I have kind of moved in, so that's fine. Mendip Nomad is talking about moving as well. New place, first bit of Lego on display in the new place, and he's got kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think 9 kind of pot plant Lego flowers, cacti, and other, which I don't even know if I've seen that set before, but it looks awesome.
They do look
looks
really
awesome.
good.
And the reason why we haven't seen Jenny, or one of the reasons why I haven't seen Jenny maybe, is that Jenny has been away in Disney World, and so here's a picture of Jenny with the Mandalorian. It could be Pedro Pascal. We can't see underneath the visor, but there's also Grogu as well in a little side hamper as well. And so I think that is the end of Geeky Gallery, and that is 9 o'clock on the dot. So thank you, Lydia, for sharing this evening, for being part of and being willing to come on. And we were always up for kind of having people on, and whether you've got something polished or a hobby or interest or not, you're more than welcome to come on. Again, thank you, Lydia. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, folks, for listening in, tuning in, and otherwise. This is going to be the end of Faith and Geekery for the summer. We're going to come back in the first week of September, I do believe, and we'll come and offer various other bits and pieces, whether that's Hyperfocus or our D&D campaign. More information will follow, and there will also be opportunities to meet up, whether it's of a Methodist specialism thing like 3Generate or Greenbelt, or Comic-Con. We look forward to meeting, chatting, and getting to know you more. But in the meantime, when we're not gathered, you can find us on our social media and Discord. Discord is the main place where we'll be chatting, and feel free to share your geekery, and that's how we will also populate the Geeky Gallery in the next stream as it comes. But bless you, folks. Thank you for joining us, and we shall chat again soon.